when it was still a tough neighborhood. Which is what amazing about the Lower East Side. No matter how gentrified it gets, it still smells like shit. Her book, it was New York. It was Her New York. Was published by Rootstock Publishing. It's filled with true stories and accidental snapshots about undying love, old lesbians, dementia, family, and a disappearing city. It was a Booklife Editor's pick and a Kirkus Recommended Book, and just received Firebird Book Award Judge's Pick. Everybody, give it up for C.O. Moed.
Thank you so much. Actually, Shane just did half the introduction, so that saves me from stumbling over my words. So welcome to Her New York. And thank you, Pete.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Actually, Pete did one of his early podcasts with me on Her New York, and it was a wonderful way to start the journey of this book. So let's go visit. Sinatra's dating advice. Florence, the concert pianist who accidentally gave birth to me, is refusing to do much but lie in bed. I say, fine, you don't want to get out of bed, then go lay down and die. She yells, lie down. Not lay down, it's lie down. I said, you can't get out of bed, but you can still correct my grammar. She says, yes, it matters. I said, then get out of bed. She doesn't. I look at her butchered hair. It's butchered because a week ago I took the household scissors and chopped off big chunks of it. I did it because it was a huge halo of wildness, as thick and silvery sparkling. Now, it was a huge halo of wildness that had got caught in a buzzsaw. The Sunday afternoon, All the Jazz You Can Eat radio show begins. We settle in to listen. Sinatra comes on. He's wailing blues in the night. Florence joins in. A woman, two faces, crying. Now, knowing something of her dating history, I ask her if that's true. She says, I didn't make that up. That's what's written. I start laughing. She asks why. I said, well, you're singing with heart. She shrugs, I'm just trying to get the words. And then she, who broke many hearts of many old girls and garnered many angry love letters and hurtful looks across crowded dances put on by the local gay and lesbian senior citizen center, she looks up and asks, is it true a woman is two-faced? The right to glitter and be gay. Now, I don't think I was the only one who ever took Florence to a dyke bar, but I know I was the only one who took her on her 60th birthday. We cuddled at the bar, and I know we drank because I never knew Florence to not drink when there was something available to drink. I pulled out a pile of wrapped presents, all books, and said, happy birthday. Each and every one of those books was about getting older in lesbian land, coming out, getting free, living your life on your own terms. We looked through the books and drank and looked some more and drank some more. And then I think she went off to meet friends. I was not invited. That's because she didn't tell any of her gal pals that she had kids. Boy, were they surprised at her memorial. It was the 1980s, and the world outside the bars weren't safe for girls like Florence, especially gay ones. Sure, Florence fought with and chased after more than a couple of muggers. But she also lived in a neighborhood that watched everything she did, suspected what she was, and judged what she wanted. And what she wanted and what she was still considered a mental illness, even if the American Psychiatric Association had taken it off its sickle list. But that bar was safe. That bar and all the bars like it gave shelter from the storm. Florence, in between teaching piano students in her living room, would pull out the books from underneath the couch and look at the life she was finally calling her own. I don't know if she ever hung out at that bar again. I just know that it was there if she wanted to. Whatever she did or didn't do that night, we both felt safe from the world and got to celebrate her birth, her day, and her life as who she was and what she was, and toast what she wanted for her new year. The secret of the fruit man. Now, for the first time ever, the fruit man by the Avenue Ways bus stop on Clinton and Grand was closed. For the first time, not a Jewish holiday. His fruit stand, an outside pyramid of overflowing old boxes piled onto the sidewalk and a beat-up space inside for the stuff that couldn't stand the heat or the rain or the snow, was just like all the other fruit and vegetable stands in the neighborhood. But while the rest dissolved into fancy supermarkets or gourmet coffee shops or Chinatown, where fresh fruit sold out of their shipping boxes still meant something, the fruit man stayed on Grand Street. Everybody in the neighborhood went to him, even Florence, who hated his guts. Irene, my fellow Lower East Side girl and Florence's neighbor, loved his cantaloupe, so I called her because I knew he couldn't have been evicted. The city sold the building to the tenants so everybody could stay there without being kicked out just because they weren't rich. Irene, where's the fruit man? He retired, Irene said. Really, why? Was he sick? No, he was 90. He was mean. No, he wasn't. He yelled at everybody. Irene cut me off. All his customers were old and hard of hearing. That's why he yelled. A night at the ER, begin the beginning. The job is on the BMT line, express stop, so I beat the ambulance to the ER because when the MTA works, it works, even at rush hour. Penny, the Thursday through Sunday Medicaid home attendant, jumps out and shrugs. She's fine, Kristen all the way up. I did my look in the eye, shake hands with both ambulance drivers, just in case we run into them again. They recount the various comments Florence made on the way up. Judging from their attempts at diplomacy, it's clear she's not their usual pick-up sick old lady. The ER is packed with a lot of old people, ranging from old sick stuff to normal old dying stuff. We get parked in a corridor. Penny splits back to the apartment. Good time to start on the incontinence pile. Hospital rule number 1. With an old person who has spent the last month in bed refusing to do anything except pretend to sleep while listening to NPR, do everything you can to keep their clothes on, no matter what hospital personnel requests, because you know, once those sweatpants come off of Florence, it's going to be impossible to get them back on Florence. So just say no. Say, pull up her shirt and hook her up to the EKG that way. Say, you don't need to put her in a gown for the x-ray, because doesn't it just go through the clothes? Say, she's not being checked into the hospital. I'm in charge of my mother's care. We're going home. I'm not putting her in a gown. Don't say that last one out loud yet. But be prepared to say it 100 times later. The x-ray technician asks, are you related? Daughter, that's related. Because I rarely call Florence Mom, I'm often mistaken for the homemade. A couple hours later, we are moved to a better part of the corridor because all the stalls are still packed. A whole bunch of cops and firefighters wheel in a crazy old man. He's handcuffed to the wheelchair. As he passes us, it sounds like he's screaming, "Stupid spirit," which I think is a pretty imaginative curse. One of the women cops corrects me, "Stupid, fill in whatever ethnicity you want." We hear him scream for the next hour the following: "You fucking Nazi, you fucking spick, why am I handcuffed? Get these fucking handcuffs off me. Nazi, Nazi, Nazi hospital, I didn't want to come here." In between the screaming, Mr. Nurse C tries to draw Florence's blood, but people keep going back and forth with stretchers, so he has to keep stepping out of the way a lot. He doesn't get much. I sing numbers from Sondheim musicals to Florence as he takes another stab at it. Door rings, phone chimes, in comes company. "No, that's wrong," Florence yells. "It's phone chimes, door rings, ow!" Mr. Nurse C finally got a good thing. The screaming old man quiets down. Either he got moved or he got sedated. The firefighters and the cops head out. The really cute firefighter says to the other really cute firefighter, "I know, I'm just a stupid spick." The woman cop complains to her partner, "I don't want to leave my handcuffs here." A doctor appears at our gurney. He's young and good looking and got that small butch and command mojo swagger going on. If he had a soundtrack, it'd be the Commodore's Hot to Trot. He is so delicious. Dr. Hot to Trot asks Florence, "Are you home?" Florence looks up at him and says, "Well, I'll call it home." I've been holding her hand during everything. My nose itches. I scratch it and smell her urine. Find a hand sanitizer dispenser and clean both their hands. Have you ever taken care of anyone like this before? Florence asks me. Home on the range. I'm so beat. I tell people I'm only willing to leave my neighborhood for the promise of romance or the guarantee of food. 2 old friends call. They aren't promising me love, but they swear a great meal awaits me in Flushing. So sometimes that's just as good. I grab my Metro card and head out. Oh, but of course, the 7 train isn't doing Manhattan that weekend, so I transfer from the BMT at Queensboro Plaza to get to Main Street. And a million people mill around this MTA guy standing on the platform, shouting into the megaphone about the 7 train changes and where to transfer and what to do, and 3 hours later, so well fed and the hell with love, I head back to the city. The same MTA guy is still there, still shouting into the megaphone about the 7 same trains and where to go and what to do and how to transfer. I'm just delivering the information. They can receive it or not, he says. But he admits that after 9 hours of this, well, he's just gonna have to pray and give it up to God when he sings in church the next day. The train comes and we all surge on, grabbing seats. A gaggle of boys hanging off the handrail, speaking to each other in something that sounds like Korean, but I know isn't. One gets sassy with me. He thinks I'm an old lady and will be too nervous to tell him if I find his friend's haircut attractive. So I tell him I had the same cut in the 1980s, including the fade in the back. And he goes and figures out I was born in the 60s. Well, close enough. I'm good at math. I'm Asian. I roll my eyes. They tell me they're headed to a party. They're from Tibet, and they're arguing about which stop to get off. And will there be girls there? And they keep asking me if I think haircut boy is cute. Finally, I sure. Look, he seems like a good-looking kid. And the kid goes, I'm 19. And I said, I'm old enough to be your grandmother. You're a kid. All of them laughing, pushing, and fixing their many different haircuts, trying not to look too fussy. I say to the sassy kid, you want to know how to get a girl interested in you? Listen to her. And him nodding, but hoping he doesn't have to do much more to get her to kiss him. The boys rush off somewhere in Queens, and the family who also got on at Queensboro Plaza all sit down. The mom, the older sister, who looks just like the mom, the fierce little brother, and the calm middle sister, who had to ask the screaming MTA guy for directions because her mother didn't speak enough English. I pull out my sock knitting, and the middle girl asks me what I'm doing and who I'm making them for, and is it hard to do? And the older sister takes out their new pet, a betta fish they got at the 99-cent store, but really it cost $7, and they named her Vanessa. And I tell them about my fish, Esmeralda, and Harold, and Scuzzy, and the fierce little brother gets closer because he wants to hear about how all my fish loved each other, and they all get off at 34th Street, waving goodbye. And I miss them already, and I'm at home as I go home. Thank you.